And we are live, I think. So, morning, everybody. I'm here today trying to get my hands around some of the technology first and foremost. So I'm going to turn that off. Yep. So, as part of NaNoWriMo, which runs for the month of November, the objective of the month is to write, I think, 50,000 words. I thought it would be interesting to kind of use it as a motivation to play some Untold Adventures Await and use it to kind of build out the world of Prisma Arena, which is a new game we have coming out later this month. But it has a kind of a wonderful world, potentially waiting to be discovered. And I thought it'd be interesting to play Untold and just see what I create, because I prefer to kind of play to find out what happens. So just to give you a little bit of overview, I'm going to change the camera here a little bit. I'm going to explain kind of how Untold works, say a little bit about the world of Prisma Arena, and then we're just going to jump in, and I am literally going to play the game on the fly. I'm a little bit rusty. I haven't played Untold. Well, earlier this month I had a game of Untold, but I haven't played it regularly in a while. So this is going to be good practice, and hopefully my approach will grow and develop over time. I'm also I've got a 3-camera setup for this, which is the first time I've ever done it. So hopefully everything keeps working. My computer is going crazy, overheating as we do this. So hopefully it isn't being picked up too much on the mic. But if it is, let me know, and I will kind of see what I can do to fix it for the future sessions. So I am just going to switch to this as a kind of reminder. So just changing some things around. I'm going to go for that one up there, I think. And I am going to change my view. So I'm actually running using StreamYard to stream this live, and then I am pulling in from OBS, which is the kind of streaming software, which is allowing me to set up the kind of multiple cameras and angles. First time I've ever done it. If it works, I will be using it a whole lot more for solo plays of Prisma Arena, where I'll actually be able to play it with the physical edition, and hopefully some of our other games as well. So I'm just going to switch to the top-down view. So this view, we're going to see the setup for Untold. I've put out some of the characters from Prisma Arena just to kind of give me a visual reminder of the game and the world. So it is going to be a kind of bright, colorful game that we're playing. You'll see we're playing with Rory story cubes. So I do have, hopefully it's working. Yeah, a close-up of the dice tray. I'll be taking notes as we play. So I'll be kind of like moving this around to try and get into kind of view as I'm working on that. That's the bit that kind of needs the most work, I think. So let's go back here and kind of explain how Untold works. Untold is powered by Rory story cubes. So I'm going to start with the basic set for the first game because they're just wonderfully adaptable. But over multiple plays, then we'll figure out kind of different ways that we might use this. So the way Untold works is it's designed to drop you, the player, or players, into an epic adventure that plays out in about 60 minutes. And it does that by guiding you through the hero's journey, which is essentially broken down into 5 scenes. The 5 scenes are randomly selected by choosing these tiles that we're going to put out here on the board. And we'll reveal them and present the characters with essentially scenes and dilemmas that they have to address, similar to what you would expect in any kind of good kind of 3-story or 3-act arc. Instead of playing with a games master, we're going to be using Rory story cubes, where the players will actually ask questions and we'll roll the story cubes to answer those questions. We'll have actions that we can take that are represented by the action tokens. And when it comes to resolving effects, like decisions as to whether something is successful or not, we will use these outcome cards. And you'll see they have different outcomes. Some are kind of negative. So this is like, it doesn't work and something worse happens. We might also have, oh, have I mixed these all together? No, I didn't shuffle them. That's what's wrong. So we have, let me see, we've got like, yes, and for positive, just a straight success. It's successive, but doesn't go quite to plan. And likewise with the negative outcomes. I'm going to shuffle these now, actually, so that I have them ready to go. So we'll do that. And then we have our reaction cards, which basically have different facial expressions that indicate some way someone in the scene is responding to your actions. Again, instead of using dice, we want to keep it really simple and really focused on the narrative aspect of the adventure that we're having. So we begin the game by, let me just kind of recap again. We'll start the game by using the episode guide here to prepare the world that we're going to be playing in by answering a couple of basic questions and filling that in. Then we'll jump in, we'll flip over the first scene tile, which will kind of open up the adventure for us. Once we've set that up, we will create our characters in response to that of who we think might be appropriate. And then we will try to resolve each scene. We resolve each scene by either deciding that we've resolved it, or we run out of action tokens, which are these little tokens here. And they compel us to move on to the next scene, regardless of whether we got the outcome we wanted or not. And we'll continue that through the various scenes. As a player, then I can influence things with idea tokens to basically kind of build out on what's being presented by the story cubes or other players if I was playing with other players. I also have like a flashback token and a modified dice. Again, playing solo, I have a funny feeling I might kind of tweak the balance of them because I don't really need extra idea tokens when I'm playing solo. But we'll see how that goes. So then we're playing in the world of Prisma Arena. Prisma Arena is a board game, kind of an arena combat game, almost like a massively online battle arena, where you're young heroes, novices who've been recruited because of your Prisma, which is your inner light, and you're training to become guardians of hope in a time of despair. And what that means is kind of essentially hope and despair are these colossal beings that actually roam the land. It's a time of despair, so the despair is active, hope slumbers, and it's a long time since anyone has seen wonder or apathy. There are times that have kind of long passed, but will be cycling back in the future. So in the game, you're basically sparring, learning to channel your inner light, leveling up, and you're sparring alongside Mokon, which are these kind of cute little creatures. And they are buff your character with different abilities, but the idea is that you have to learn to work with your emotions. So I'm kind of really curious to see how that's going to play out narratively within the game. I'm just noticing that I've got the AE lock on my iPhone, which is acting as the overhead camera. So I'm going to quickly turn that off before we jump back in. Okay, just so you can see the full screen. I'll take some of my coffee. So I'm realizing I kind of need to sit over a little bit more this way. So I'm going to adjust this camera around just so I should hopefully stay a bit more centered. Let's see. An unbelievable amount of wires running around here at the moment. So let's see. Now, that should do it, I think. Okay. I also have this handy little notebook with me, which I haven't named, but it's kind of got Prisma Arena, the animated series. I'm keeping an index, and it's just where I'm going to log characters, locations, and events, because if I do play this out over the length of November, and I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to do it every single day, but in doing it, we should build up quite a kind of catalog of characters as we play. So yeah, so let's kind of jump in and start playing and see how it goes. I'm just going to switch back to comments so I can see that as we're playing. Okay, so let me see. The first thing we're going to do is kind of, let me switch to the close up of the notes. See if that helps. So we can get this to kind of focus in. So I'm kind of doing this in a weird way because I'm kind of writing over it. So let me see if we can see that properly. Yeah. Maybe I'll try and do this two-handed at some point. But let me see. We've got this here. Yeah, okay. So the series name is going to be Prisma Arena. And the animated series. And it is season 1, episode 1. It's kind of like our pilot episode. I'm not going to give it a name until the end of the episode, until we know what the story is, because I don't know what's going to happen. So when does this episode take place? So in this case, it actually takes place in the Time of Despair. It's kind of like towards the end of the Time of Despair. And these are like eras in the world of the Land of Solace, I think I'd call it, of the Time of Despair. Before Hope Awakens, let's say. Hope reawakens. Okay, so where does this episode take place? So it takes place in the kind of the Land of Solace. I was kind of assuming it might take place at Beacon, but I'm not going to assume that just yet because it might be interesting to actually tell stories about the Land of Solace and not just about our heroes as well. I kind of think it'd be interesting to kind of broaden that out. So the Land of Solace. What do we know about this setting? So the things we do know, which come from the game, is that emotions are physical, or kind of manifest as physical creatures. Physical creatures. People possess Prisma. It's like an inner light, which they can kind of channel. Channel kind of into powers or gifts. Ooh, so that's even got me thinking about like artificers. Is that the right word? Or kind of like blacksmiths who channel Prisma when they're working, or even like a potter as well. Which they channel into powers or gifts, and also I think kind of machinery. I feel like it kind of acts as a kind of a power source. Gonna move this back here. So what's the tone of the episode? So it's, how is it? It's kind of it's like an action adventure, I think. Adventure with comedy and pathos, I think. So we're not going for like kind of clearly horror, and we're not going for like daft over the top. I'm trying to create a kind of let me switch back here. A kind of compelling view. So I'm trying to create a compelling world as we play in here. So I'm going to switch back to my notes. I just realized I should have actually stuck on my overhead. So I'm going to do a little kind of cheaty thing here and see if I can get it to work. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to copy my face cam. Copy. Go back to my notes. Paste my reference. Oh, wrong one. No. Hang on. Oh, I've undone something. Yeah, move that back. There. Okay. Didn't work out as planned, so I will leave that for now. So setting synopsis is in a land where I am making this up on the fly, where despair has tight hold. Can our young heroes help usher in a new era of hope? See, kind of by awakening the slumbering, and in this world we call them kind of Mokon, slumbering great Mokon. Okay, maybe not the best opening, but hopefully it will work. And then we have this area down here for after the episode, which we'll kind of use to record our notes afterwards. But we don't need that for right now. Just to give you a quick look at the back of the sheet. So this is normally where we would keep track of our characters of, let's see, our characters of interest, our items of interest. Let's see if I can focus there. And our places of interest. But I'm going to actually keep all of that in this notebook here instead. Okay, so I can have that done. We will come back to our character guide, so I'm just going to set that up here for later. But for right now, I think I'm ready to jump in. This is the best bit. I love the fact that I have no idea what's going to happen in the episode as well, and I get to see how that all plays out. So I'm both nervous and excited at the same time. I mean, even though myself and John worked on this game together, yeah, doing it live is always a unique experience. Okay, so we're going to begin and we're going to reveal the first tile here, and that's going to kind of open up the adventure so that we can see what's happening. I am noticing there is some lag on the camera, which I will work to address kind of going forward. So we're going to flip over the first tile. Now, the way the tiles work is that they kind of give you like a sentence in a coded format. So you'll see this says, at some location, a threat is kind of accusing or kind of blaming or blackmailing someone or something. They could be kind of verbally threatening. It's non-physical what they're doing. Someone or something. We don't know what they are, and we don't need to know what they are just yet. You can see this kind of spaces on the tiles, and we're going to basically use the story cubes to populate these and give meaning to them. Then we'll create our characters, and then we'll come back and we'll start asking questions and taking actions and moving the story forward. So I really want to show how you can really keep the pace of this game going. Okay. So in the game itself, also just to point out, there is each player does have a kind of reference guide where they can, it basically kind of reminds you of what the symbols are. And once you get these, the game becomes essentially kind of language free as you're playing. Okay, so we've got at this location, this threat is accusing, blackmailing, threatening someone or something. So to figure out what's happening, I'm going to take all of the story cubes. Forgive me if these are overly loud. I'm trying to control all that. So I'm going to give them a shuffle, then just roll them out here. Okay. So as I kind of like pause for coffee, I'm going to see. So what would be interesting is whether people can see the icons, because if they can, then it'll save me having to use that extra camera, and then I can use a single camera setup, which will kind of make the playing of this game a whole lot easier because it's going to put less pressure on my computer. Okay, so at some location. So this one kind of jumps out to me. So yeah, probably I need to start keeping a map at some point. So the thought is at the moon shrine. So of, let's see, the moon shrine of Tanal. So when we name things in Prisma Arena, they often have like a kind of an apostrophe, so the words are broken up. So I tried to kind of keep that throughout the naming of the game. So, okay, so I'm going to pull this over here so you can see it. So I'm going to write at the moon shrine of Tanal. And I have no idea what this is. I'm going to figure out what's happening. But I picture it as being something that, and this is what I find is helpful playing the game, is kind of visualize stuff as much as possible. I think it's like, it's somewhere up on a promontory, so it's up quite high on some rocks, and it's quite a spindly construction, kind of made out of stone, and on top there's almost like that same curved shape that during the full moon, well, let's say the alignment of the moons, it's us, they don't have to have the one. During the alignment of the moons, the light from the moon kind of shines through it all, and yeah, I have this idea of it highlighting some glyphs or something on a rock face. So that's the moon shrine of Tanal. So we need a threat, someone or something. So I'm trying to look at these. So let me see. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna use this as kind of like the guardians, almost like the spears. So the guardians of the shrine are yeah, they're threatening someone who has turned up at it. No idea. No idea whatsoever what's going on or what's happening. So we're going to start by creating our characters for this adventure. So this is really curious because I kind of assumed I'd start in the arena or nearby it, or Beacon, which is the one town that I do know exists within the world. But let's create our characters and figure out. So I'm going to create maybe two characters for the game. So as we do this, again, I'm just trying to get the camera right so I can write. So I will say, as we've been playing kind of Prisma Arena, this character has kind of become Mike. When I was playing it, this is the character I kind of leveled up over time. But they did begin the game as a novice, so I'm thinking I might start with this character, and yeah, kind of tell their story as we play the game. So in the game, they are called Lenore, and their job or role, so they're a kind of a trainee in the Prisma Arena, and they're training to become a guardian of hope. No, Prisma Arena. And what compels you to go on adventures? I'm actually going to roll the story cubes just so that I don't have anything kind of predetermined. So I'm going to do these. I'm going to pick 1, 2, or 3. Okay. So I love this icon. It's actually got quite a kind of heritage and story behind it in the kind of canon of Rory story cubes. But I think I'm going to take this one. and say, oh, sorry, what else if I had a dice view on? I'm going to take this one and say that it is, let me see, I'm going to close up the dice tray. Yeah, so the one I'm talking about is this one here. So, I'm noticing I am off camera. Sorry, I'm kind of juggling things here as we kind of go and play, because like I said, I'm figuring all this out as I go, and if you can bear with me, it will make it a whole lot easier. Yeah, so that's fine, I think. Let's go to the dice tray. Yeah, that's fine. Maybe I'll bring it down a little bit more. There. It means we can jump right back in tomorrow. Okay, so I'm going to use this one and say that my village was overrun by despair. And so I, like as a young child, they got me out, but I want to, kind of usher in. I don't know if I want my revenge. Let me see. Adventures is to not have the same thing happen to others that happened to my village. Yeah. So, so what compels me is prevent despair from taking over any more of the land of solace. I guess protect others who are helpless or defenseless. So I'm gonna switch back to my notes. Sorry, multitasking, not my best ability. So when I'm creating a character, I answer these questions, and then I get to choose an ability or power, a helpful item or companion, or an area of expertise or knowledge. So I think we're all going to have, I'm just going to say Prisma power, because I know how it shows up in the game, but I'm kind of interested as to how this idea of having like inner light is going to show up in day-to-day gameplay. And a helpful item or companion. So, well, I'm going to say kind of companions. So I get to travel with, that makes sense? Or is that just a given that I get to travel with the Mokon? Area of expertise or knowledge. I'm going to say I grew up with knowledge of kind of healing and herbs, I think, taught to me by my grandmother. So expert in kind of healing herbs. And maybe healing herbs and Prisma. So using it to kind of heal. Okay, so that's my first character created. That's essentially all I need to know. Lenore. So I'm going to actually, so back in my notebook, I'm going to make a note of Lenore, trainee. Actually, so Prisma is actually the name of the skill, the martial art that they're training in. So I'm going to say she's a trainee in Prisma. So that's that character done. Well, I play two-handed. Yeah, I'll play two-handed. So I'm going to take this character here, I think. For now, anyway. And no, do you know what? Actually, I'm not. I'm going to go with someone completely different. kind of tied in with maybe they haven't actually made it to the arena yet. So I'm going to use this to come up. So you're going to have like a, sorry, got to change back to my dice tray. So I'm thinking of using these two. Actually, yeah, these. So kind of a herder or a shepherd of some kind, who's kind of quite a downer, but is quite talkative as well. So I'm going to call them Ariba Kino. And their job role is a herder. So a herder of let's see, Morlachs, which are like the equivalent of our kind of cattle in this land. And what compels them to go on adventures? I don't think they choose to go on adventures, so it's the thing that compels them. Maybe they've been tasked with, so they're slightly older, and they've actually been tasked with keeping me safe and getting me to Beacon. Tasked with kind of protecting and guiding Lenore on journey to Beacon. Okay. So there, gotta switch back again. Really gotta get that camera in. I'm gonna try one more time as we're doing this. So I should be able to like copy, let me see if I'm picking the right one. I'm kind of going through picking things here. So I'm gonna copy that. And then I'm gonna go to my notes one, and I'm going to paste. Nope, still not doing it. It's giving me a full one, which I don't want. So yeah, I'll fix that afterwards. I know I need to like kind of copy the, actually I know what I can do. All right, bear with me. Transform, I'm gonna copy the transform, that's what I want. Notes, and then Basecamp. I'm gonna paste transform. Okay, that should give us what we need. Yay, there I am. Okay. That's weird seeing little head on the camera. Okay, so the specials are I have, I think, a way with animals. So that'd be kind of like an expertise. And my other helpful item is, I'm going to say I've got a Prisma staff. Again, don't know what it does, but it's infused. It's kind of like got a Prisma shard on it. And it's infused, and hopefully it'll give us some kind of benefits as we go. I kind of feel like, yeah, maybe I'll leave it like that. That might introduce some Morlachs in a later episode. Okay, so that's our characters set up. I'm going to pull them out of there. I'm going to make a note of, so we also have Ariba Keno, who is a herder. Well, I guess the more important role is herder and protector of Lenore. Okay, so we don't really need these anymore. I'll get that out of the way. I'm going to keep that handy for when we need it. That's guide, character sheets. Yeah. Okay. So I think we're kind of ready to jump back into the episode. So I'm going to assume, let's see, we're kind of passing by here on our way to Beacon. And we're seeing this happening. So just as a reminder, gotta double check my notes, at the Moonshrine of Tnal. So actually the characters are, so the, what are we going to call them? This kind of shrine guards. Of Tnal. Okay, so the shrine guards of Tnal. Oh, I'm just gonna just good reminder of where that needs to be when I'm writing. Let me see where I'm right there, I think. So the shrine guards of Tnal are accusing or threatening someone. So let's see. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start asking questions and taking actions to try and resolve this scene. Again, I've got 4 action tokens. When they're all used up, I will have to move on to the next scene. But at any point where I feel like it's resolved, I can move on and the plot will thicken. And then, so I'm actually going to just quickly do this so you can see the titles here. So we've got like the plot thickens. So yeah, it's been catch up on my hand. A heroic undertaking. The truth revealed, and finally, final showdown. So, I'm gonna bring this here. So we've got it all set up. So professional. Okay, so let's figure out what's going on. Okay, so I'm gonna take a question token, and I'm gonna spend it, and I'm going to ask. Usual one is who or what is being threatened by the guards. So let's go. So I'm going to roll the remaining story cubes. And again, you can use 1, 2, or 3 to answer the question. So who or what are the guards threatening? Accusing. Okay. So this kind of jumped out. Okay, so I'm going to tie a couple of things together. Well, so these kind of caught my eye, but they could be kind of any 3. So I'm going to put some dice tray. So turn these around. So I'm going to say it's a ranger from okay, so again, the words just kind of came into my head. So I'm going to go back to my notes. So a ranger of Hendon Forest, I guess. And they're accusing them of actually being a spy for Despair. Okay, so I'm kind of going to use this kind of in this context to kind of shadow as being a spy for Despair. Oh, that's interesting. So that immediately. So we're watching this. They're accusing them of this. So I'm going to ask how. So I'm going to ask another question. Go back into the top-down view. So I'm going to ask another question and ask, how is the ranger responding to all of this? So again, I can reroll all of the story cubes. It's just the ones that are on the tiles that stay locked in place. So how is the ranger responding to this? So I think they are okay. So they're saying no. I'm a spy on a mission to infiltrate a temple to despair. So that's going to be a look. Oh, so actually we've got all these locations. So we're going to try and we've got Hendon Forest. Just going to write this down. And now we've got the temple. So let's see the temple. Of I'm just going to look for what's here. So I'm going to say Temple of Deep Water, which is devoted to kind of despair. Okay. So that's going on. So it's not a full moon. They're attempting that. So what can I do? Do I want to just kind of? I mean, I can ignore them potentially and just keep going and leave them to it. But I think I'm kind of curious about these, so I'm going to try and sneak closer. So I'm going to take an action token. So I kind of turn and whisper to Ariba to kind of take cover, to stay back, and I'm going to sneak up a little bit closer to see if I can hear some more about what's going on. So I'm going to take that token here. Sorry, do you know what I'll do? I'll actually just I'll kind of flip them over to show that they're spent. Might be the best way. I can't quite see behind here, but at least we can kind of keep track. And I'll maybe find a better way to show how many tokens are left there. So I'm going to try and sneak closer. So I'm going to take the outcome cards to see whether I succeed or not. Am I going to use any powers or anything? I don't think so. No. But I might have to use my fact on my healer as a kind of bluff at some point. Well, but I have some experience. Because I am like a teen, probably about aged 15 or so. So no, 16. Yeah. So I'm going to reveal an outcome card to see. So I'm trying to sneak closer to where they're standing and maybe trying to get behind a rock closer to the shrine, or where the guards and this kind of like argument seems to be taking place. Okay, so I managed to get closer. Great. So I'm going to just like kind of discard them out of the way when they're done. No need to draw a reaction card, because it's just a straight up, I got what I want. So I managed to sneak up closer. And I try to, so I'm up there. So it's like, what do I hear as I get closer? So what do I overhear of the conversation? When I get closer, so I'm going to roll the story cubes. Ooh, okay. That one immediately grabs my attention. And I suppose it's a kind of a good way to open up the action. So this symbol grabs my attention. Again, let me just jump to the dice tray. So this one here, no, that's having trouble focusing that close, I think. Is it? Yeah, it doesn't want to do it. Okay. So the ranger, I'm going to give them the name in a minute, is saying that basically the forces of despair are on the move. and it had just learnt that whilst kind of infiltrating the temple, and that that they have spies throughout the land of Solace as well, and they're preparing to kind of rise up. So there's going to be like an uprising of despair. Kind of, is it imminently? No, it's being planned. So I'm going to make a note of that. So the kind of we call it the uprising of despair. I'm going to say it's kind of planned. Nope. So again, sorry, I'm writing stuff down. You can't see what I'm doing. So I'm writing this down here just as an event, the uprising of despair, because it might be like a future plot hook or thread for later on. Okay. So you know what? I think I don't know if I want to get involved in this. I'll maybe. So I'll see, because I don't think I should just ask another question. I think it's like, do I hear any? Am I able to kind of pick up any other useful information? So that's a question by overhearing. So when you take an action in Untold, you usually say, I tried to do something by, and you explain what the thing is. So I'm going to say, I'm going to try and kind of overhear more of the conversation by just listening really quietly and see what happens. So I'm going to draw an outcome card. Oh no. So I get no, and something happens. So it's even worse than not hearing it. So I'm going to flip this over to no, and I get a reaction. Oh man. Okay. My response to this is in trying to get a little bit closer, I know what happens. Okay, so the thing in my head is like I fart, I break wind at that point where I'm really quiet, and maybe that's something that happens to me when I'm really, really nervous. I can't help it, but I break wind, and the guards and the ranger turn towards me. So I'm kind of doing it as a, like, it's not a laughing matter. What happens? I'm interpreting this the other way, but I'm imagining if someone was watching the show, they would all start laughing at what had happened. So yeah, it's all really quiet, and then suddenly, like, and all eyes turn towards me. Crap. So I am going to try and let me see what I'm going to do. I'm got to be proactive. So I am going to take an action token and kind of, I'm going to step out and kind of explain that, oh, kind of, hi everybody. I'm actually here at the shrine looking for some herbs that are only available at this time of year. So I'm actually going to ask it, like, do I know the name of a herb that I could kind of bluff at this point? So let me see. Oh my god. Okay, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna try and bluff and say I'm here looking for a herb. So let's see what happens. Oh, so they're actually quite welcoming. It's positive, and so I do manage to persuade them bizarrely. Oh, actually, and so one of the guards says they have because I've got the kind of, let me see if we can hold this closer. This symbol crying. The guard actually says, "Oh, maybe you could help me. My daughter is quite ill. We don't know what the problem is. Maybe you could help them." Um, so, oh, that's an interesting turn of events. So yeah, I'm kind of on board with them. They're willing to help. And so do we end? I kind of feel like, yeah. So I'm gonna kind of agree to help them, and I think I'll end the scene at that point where they say kind of like, come with me. And so I go to kind of help that guard. He's gonna bring me down to the local village, which is let me give that a name. Well, I guess it's the village of Tanal. So Tanal, and we have that guard introduced himself as what do we call them? Strong guards, yeah. So Meeker, guard of Tanal. And yeah, so he kind of lives in the village of Tanal. So I'm going to go and help them, and that kind of like cuts to the end of the scene. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, hope that's all making sense so far. Pace is going to pick up as we kind of set these things up and get it going. So the plot is going to thicken. So meanwhile, something is happening, and we discover that the ranger of Hendon Forest has, let me look at the guide here, a terrible secret. I don't know what that's going to be. So I'm going to take all the story cubes. Give them a roll. And dun, dun, dun. Oh, okay, this kind of like seems like a no-brainer, I think. So the one that grabs my attention is this. So again, let's switch to the dice tray. So I'm going to use this one and kind of say like they're a double agent. So what are our notes? Items, events, threads. Maybe it's a thread. So the ranger of Hendon Forest is the double agent. Okay. So the kind of question is like how. So I'm gonna put that one in there to fill that in. So yeah, so I basically placed it in here to kind of fill out the gaps. So the question is, how do we discover this? Like in the episode, because it's kind of like an off-camera thing that happens. So how do we discover this? Sorry, I just when I pause, I've got like other questions going through my head. So looking at the dice here. Oh. So I'm looking at these here and seeing what one. So how do we discover this? How do we discovered that, how do we see it being played out kind of in the story? It's almost like in the cutaway scene. And we see him, we see her actually, or them. We see them deliver a letter to a kind of mysterious figure that kind of emanates despair. So it's kind of like when someone's been taken over by despair, let's say, that you can see it emanating from them in these kind of wisps of kind of smoke. So yeah, so that's a thread as well. That's a character. So we have this kind of like, what do we call them? A spy. No, kind of, let's call them a kind of hidden mysterious figure. Of despair. No, like follower of despair. So follower. Kind of in the game, I think I call them bringers. So like a bringer of despair. Okay. So I can only ask questions in this scene, actually, as a point back. So I can only ask questions. There's no actions that I can take. So we see the spy doing this. What Daredevil agent? I'll just go like, does anyone else know this? Or who else might? Trying to ask a question I would ask. How? So I don't necessarily need to have seen that happening, but it's kind of like the off-camera thing that's going on. Has anyone else what are they? I think dramatically we're going to see them kind of like passing notes over back to that person. And it's like something, yeah, what information are they giving them? Like, because we see that, need to know that it's a kind of they're being a double agent, so they need to be passing something information about the kind of, against, essentially about the kind of forces of hope. So what information is the agent, the ranger, kind of like betraying or revealing? Okay, this might work. So I'm going to use these two, and sorry, I'm going to close up on them again a little bit. So I'm going to use these two, and I'm going to say the location of Beacon, which is home to the Prisma Arena, because it's a if you look at the box cover, it's kind of like a mobile city ship that moves around, because the idea is that they can kind of escape from despair. So maybe he is revealing like a map to what we see being passed is a map to the location of despair. So I am going to kind of so we are going to introduce kind of Beacon and the location of hope. And then let's see, threads. No, that's okay. Okay, so do we see anything else? I think that's all, actually. I think we're going to get from that scene. So there's plot's thickened. We've learned the spy's a double agent. I've been asked to go help with the herb, so we'll see whether that's kind of like an off-camera thing or whether it happens. And I'll assume it probably happened off camera whilst that was happening. So we're going to go for a heroic undertaking. And I'm going to flip this tile over. And so we see at a new location, again, gotta always remember to switch back. So I've flipped over the tile and it reveals at a new location. And the reason why I say it's new is there's a different colored border or interior. So if the interior was the same color as a previous kind of location, I could bring it forward. So like in this case, I could, I think, yeah, bring forward the agent. Oh, that might be interesting. So, yes, okay. So at some location, a threat is now attacking us directly. The colors in here mean I can bring forward a tile from a previous location. So in this case, I could bring forward a kind of magenta tile, which means I could actually bring this symbol forward. And I'll explain how that works in just a minute. But I'm going to roll for the location. And look at so yeah, okay. So I'm gonna say, might be cheating a little bit, but hey, I'm gonna go to Tnal, which is built on, I wonder if it'll have an impact later, Village of Tnal, which is kind of built on the location of a fallen, let me say star or moon. I'd say like a moon shard fell, and that's why the kind of shrine is there. So I'm going to say that there is kind of like kind of moon shard of Tnal is located somewhere. How do I spell it? 1 or 2? Tnal. Now, when I say moon shard, it was big enough to create a crater in which the town was built. So it's probably, when you look at the village, it's probably like inset into this kind of sunken area. And I guess they've almost like, oh, maybe it's like this. So maybe the village is actually, so it's built on a crater and it's filled with water, but they've actually kind of built up areas of rock and built small houses on it with walkways that link between them. So it's almost like it's built on a lake. That, yeah. Try to think visually like what would be cool kind of in the animated series. So yeah, they've lots of kind of like there might be some of the kind of the Morlaxes kind of wandering around outside, but there's going to be a lot of kind of like aquatic creatures and waterfowl of some kind in the village as well. And there's like kind of people running across the water. So I've gone there to basically help with to tend to the daughter of let's see how bad my memory is, Meeker. And while I'm there, so I'm going to use this. So the agent, so the ranger actually bursts in and no, he doesn't burst in. He attacks me, but he he waits till I'm finished caring for the daughter, and I'm going to kind of twist things up a little bit here narratively, and I'm going to take a token and say, well, how successful was I in caring for the daughter? So I'm doing this a little bit out of sync, but I think it kind of fits within the gameplay. So how successful was I in caring for the daughter? Like, how's she doing? She's still not good. So there's no sign of improvement yet. I've done everything I can, but it just never feels like enough. Like that's yeah. And I'm worried because yeah, okay. I'm using up my token, so I'm gonna ask no, leave that there. So yeah, actually no, I will. So has she been touched by despair? Or let's say what's ailing her? Because when you ask a question and holding on, you kind of have to ask an open-ended question. So what is ailing her? Okay, so I'm actually going to use this. She has kind of like become locked inside herself. So she's completely withdrawn, which, because I'm trying to tie this in narratively, is like one of the symptoms of having been touched by despair is this kind of retreat within yourself. So I'm going to give her a name. Gleanna. Daughter. Now, she is more than just that, but for now, that's all we really know about her. She's been touched by despair. Okay, so while I'm treating her, I'm taking a break. I'm tired. Myself and Ariba take a wander around the village to get something to eat and kind of refresh myself. He's urging me, saying like we need to move on to Beacon. When the spy, so the ranger, kind of like steps around a corner and blocks my path. And his hand is on. Let me see. Yeah, I can see he's kind of got a twisted. Let me see. He's got a quarterstaff, but there's again. Maybe I have an eye for this. He's got like that kind of mist coming off it. But he's kind of really threatening. So he basically swings to attack, and the first thing I do is I try to dodge out of the way. So let's see if I see that. So I kind of try to dodge and kind of roll to the side and see whether I succeed or not. I don't, but what happens? So I don't, but the townspeople, a child kind of nearby sees what's happening and like yells out to the crowd. Sorry, I got pushed. I'm just realizing it's being covered by the banner. So this child sees the spy and yells like, "There's a bringer! There's a bringer here!" So I try to use that opportunity. Oh, what token I flip? Yeah, so that's those. I tried to use the opportunity to kind of run because there's no way I'm going to take them out. So I try to run. Okay, I managed. So I managed to kind of get away, but he is like furiously kind of like pushing people out of the way. They're falling over, you know, food stalls that are set out. Some of them are falling into the water as well, and he's gaining ground on me. So I'm gonna check. Is there? So I'm gonna ask you a question. Is there anywhere I can hide, or where I can? Where can I get help? So I like to introduce kind of like fantastical elements into the game, into the story. So this beetle kind of attracts my attention. So I'm going to say there's kind of actually giant water beetle creatures called bugglers, and they kind of skim across the water. And I see one preparing to take off. So it's like a kind of form of transport. And there's one just kind of departing. Can they fly? Yeah, I think they can fly as well. So they can kind of hover and skim across the water, equivalent of our like water planes. So I don't have characters or creatures, so what are these kind of items? It's kind of a bugler, and they are kind of giant water insect used for transport. Sorry again, I forget when I so like get into writing my notes because I don't want to forget them. So I'm going to write that down here. So I see a bugler nearby, and I'm like, okay, maybe I can make it and get onto that. Okay, fingers crossed. Actually, I've been in all the action myself. So first of all, I'm going to say it's Ariba, actually. So show you one of the things that we usually use in the multiplayer game, but don't usually use in the single player, is that you have this play pause button, which is if the story's going in a direction you're not happy with, you can literally pause the episode and say, okay, we want to steer it on track. So I'm kind of pausing it for myself because I realized like I've been the focus of all the action, and I do have Ariba as my companion, and Ariba has a way with animals. So I think Ariba's going to use his ability and kind of like whistle to the animal to call them over, so that we can kind of jump on and escape through them. So let's see if Ariba is successful. They are. Okay. So we managed to get onto the bugler. But it's slightly embarrassing. So what is embarrassing? Because it kind of needs to be a slight negative for us. I think the kind of the other people who are waiting to go on the boat are we're kind of like stopping other people from getting onto the boat who are waiting, and they're like tutting and complaining, and kind of Reba's like we're a little bit apologetic as we're trying to like push our way on to the boat, and we're like sorry, there's another one coming along shortly, and we jump on and escape through that. Okay, so we've survived that scene. So here are these over here. So now, let me see if we can see that over here. The truth is revealed. So let's see. So whilst all of this was going on, there's even something deeper and darker going on within the world of Solace. So let's see what's happening. Yeah, and I realize I kind of really haven't been making use of Mocon, so I gotta have this thing of them kind of coming out more as I'm playing the story. So this symbol tells us that, actually, maybe it's easier if I just bring this up over here. So it tells me that someone has an evil master. Now, I can either create something new, I can bring forward something that has a yellow border or an orange border. So the question for me is, do I want to kind of, yeah, so does our spy have an evil master who's kind of controlling things? Or it could also be the guards have an evil master. I'm going to keep it fairly straightforward, I think, for the purposes of this. I don't think we need the guards to have one. It would be interesting. It would create this kind of like not everyone in the world of Solace and Protectors of Hope are that helpful. But I think I'm going to go with the spy. So I'm going to move that forward and say the ranger has an evil master. There's only one question we can ask. It's kind of obvious who's going to be the evil master. So who is their evil master? So let me see. Oh. So, kind of alluded to at the beginning of the episode that there's hope, there's despair, there's hope, there's wonder, and that's kind of like cycle. You go from the time of despair, you go to through that, you go to the time of hope, and from that you go to the time of wonder. But after that, you kind of head into autumn again, which is like the time of apathy, and then back into the time of despair. So I think, because I'm kind of seeing these three images together, and so I'm going to switch to the dice tray. Remember not to forget to go back. So I'm looking at these three, and I kind of think their evil master is actually apathy. So they're not loyal to despair or hope. They're like a triple agent that's going on, and somehow they're acting for apathy. That's got like much further reaching implications that I have no idea how that's going to play out, but they're totally going to be doing that. So I'm going to update my threads. So if I go back to my notes, we go, they're not a double agent, they are a triple agent. Triple agent. And they're kind of like beholden to apathy. And I guess there's going to be a rationale or motivation for why they feel like that. And we'll wait and see how that kind of plays out over the episodes. But that's kind of really curious because I've been really wanting to dig into that aspect of the story a little bit and have never kind of given myself the time to think about it. So over the course of the month, maybe that'll all kind of reveal itself. So we're going to head back into the final showdown, which is the last tile here on the board. No time for questions. It's going to be all actions. There's basically kind of 6 tokens. So I'll maybe set them out. So I'll flip them as I use them. Sorry, I am reaching across here. Okay, so the final showdown means we can either go to a new location or we could return to the shrine where 2 groups have kind of like worked together. So they've kind of teamed up in an attempt to capture me. So I don't think, because we're on the Waterberg, I don't think we should be there. I think we should have escaped somewhere else. I think that kind of makes sense. And we'll see who has teamed up to capture us. They're essentially trying to block us or prevent us from returning. So intercept, I think, might be another thing. So if I remember, I kind of used that earlier. I'm going to use this actually. I'm going to use my modified token here. Sorry, we are back playing our episode again. And I'm going to turn the die to this. Because I feel like we basically traveled to the forest of, again, I gotta remember my names. They will stick with me eventually. Hendon. So we're traveling to kind of warn the other rangers of what we've learned about, that the ranger has been touched by despair, and do they know about it? So let me see. So who are we captured by? When we arrived there, captured by other, because I'm kind of using this kind of like to represent agents, I think. Sorry, hold that up there. So these are tough tokens. And I used my modify token earlier on. So we've been caught by so he said there's an agent. So there's other kind of agents or rangers of Hedron. Who are joined by our double triple agent as well. He managed to kind of close in on us, and essentially at the same time as we're kind of arriving to the forest, and the think kind of visually. So the bugler kind of lands on the water, on the kind of the wide river that runs through the forest, and that's home to the kind of forest town of Hendon. They, what's going to call it? Let's call it Waters Keep. Well, no, because we have Deep River. Let me call it something else. So what do we have? Temple of Deep Water, which is devoted to despair. Let's see. This is going to be the town of green one is a bit obvious. Green light, because it like represents the trees coming down. That's in Hendon. So we arrive at the town of Tree Light, which is almost like this was the counter to that kind of water village. Maybe the houses are kind of up in trees as well. It's kind of multi-layered. We arrived there in search of the head of the rangers. So we kind of head to the what would it be, the kind of the council, to alert them to their spy. And the actual kind of rangers step out, and our spy is in amongst them, and they capture us, and they say, you know, our let's call him give him a name, Arius, just so I can link him with apathy. Arius Dinar. So Arius Dinar has informed us that you are a spy, and we're going to take you to the king. Well, we're going to bring you up for treason. So I try. Okay, I think it's time. I'm really scared, but I need something else to help me. So I'm going to try and summon Fard, the Angry, who will try and help me in this. So I have a funny feeling all of my actions are going to be like summoning different Locon. So actually, yeah. So I'm going to do that to see if I can kind of like build up the strength so that I can then channel my Prisma. So do I succeed? No, I think I'm too scared for that, even though I had tried to fake that. So then I failed, and as a result, they've managed to grab hold of me, and they're carrying me forward, and I'm struggling. So I try to I'm going to try this. I'm going to try one more time to summon Inu, the Distracted, to kind of distract them and see what I can do. So I'm going to flip it over. Okay, so I succeed. So Inu comes, and Inu appears, and Inu is this kind of cute little creature here. So let's see on my camera. Yeah. So Inu appears and starts to kind of flutter around the guards, kind of distracting them. And I think Ariba is going to just grab me and try and pull me out of the way. So Ariba is going to try and grab me and run with me to get away. So let's see if they succeed. So, okay, so they managed to do that. We managed to break away. But yeah, I think this is Ariba. He's just like, you need to stop doing this. We need to get home. We need to get to Beacon. Stop being so heroic. Let other people do this. So we managed to get away. I'm guessing the guards are kind of still in pursuit. No questions to ask. I think, actually, you know what? I think we're going to leave it at that. I think we've escaped. We're hiding. I'm going to try and make it back to the Boglar, and let's get the heck out of here. And maybe try and make our way to Beacon. So I'm going to take one of these and see if we can go and get back to the Buglar. Okay, we make it. We get back to the Buglar. But what's going on? This could be interesting. So there's somebody there, a young character, and I think it's going to be this character here. Let me put it up. So, and they basically say, "You're taking me with me. You are that. Yeah, wherever you're going, if it's away from here, you're taking me." So I'm gonna try to persuade them. No, you're not. So I'm gonna do this. Let me see. Oh, so I do manage to persuade them. So I kind of push them out of the way and say, "No, you're not coming with us." And they, yeah, we climb into the bugler and climb onto its back, and we manage to take off and hopefully head to freedom, knowing that we are wanted. Lies are probably going to be spread around us, but we got a warn beacon that there's this, that essentially the Rangers have been infiltrated by a bringer of despair, and they're completely oblivious to it. So I'm going to have to round up some help with that. So that's it. That's the end of the episode. I think so. At the end of the episode, what we call this? Yeah. So let's go back to our main sheet. I got to give it an episode title. So we're kind of on this here, and we're going to call it The Bringer of Despair. No, what do we call it? The Seed of Despair, actually. It's the first. Okay, so that's, and I've been keeping all of my kind of notes for that elsewhere, so I don't need that anymore. In terms of Ariba, let's look at them. So they were in The Seed of Despair. So season 1, episode 1, the kind of highlight was essentially rescuing Lenore from the Rangers. Kind of using their skill to summon the bugler, and basically determined to return, not return, but bring Lenore to Beacon and end all this nonsense. Okay. And I might transfer these into that little notebook as well. So episode title, The Seed of Despair. Series 1, episode 1. Their highlight was running away. This was caring for. It doesn't matter whether they succeeded or not. Caring for, and her name was Gleanna. And kind of escaping clutches of the Ranger. Did we give her name? Of Arius. Arius the Spy. Let's call him a bringer. Even though he's working for Apathy. Okay. And so actually the one character we need to introduce is they're kind of unnamed. The young boy from the town, which is from Greenlight. Okay. Cool. I think that's everything I rolled done about an hour and a half, so I'm really happy for that because there was a lot of setup on this episode, and hopefully in the future ones we'll have them in kind of around the hour mark. So I'm going to go back to full frontal. Yeah, so that's essentially the first game. Oh, so I'm just going to notice. Hey, Alex, I was so caught up in the game that I didn't even notice the comments that were coming in between juggling OBS and StreamYard and Untold. I'm trying to make sure I was keeping notes. Yeah, I didn't get to say hello earlier, but hopefully you enjoyed. I think you caught like the latter half of the episode. Be really curious to hear how the sound was working, the visuals, and yeah, if it all made sense. I'm really happy with that opening actually. Kind of really nervous, but again, it's like Untold. The work that essentially my co-designer John did in creating the framework for Untold just makes it into such a wonderful experience for like seeing a story unfold and not know what's happening, and it's doing exactly what I wanted. I've got like new villages and towns. I've got like these threads of like the spy, the ranger working for apathy. We've got the plans for the uprising happening, and it's all set outside the arena. And we're introducing new. I love introducing like flora and fauna into the world. So the fact that we've got like the buglars and the Morlaxes, I think is really interesting, and the aesthetic of the villages as well. So I'm really trying to keep it this bright, vibrant, a kind of fantastical science fictional type of narrative. So yeah, so join me same time tomorrow. I know it's not the best for the East Coast, or for the US, but in terms of my work schedule, if I can make myself sit down at 10 a.m. and play this for an hour, I'm more likely to do it. And we'll just see over time if I shift maybe to a later time at the weekends. But yeah, if you liked it, please spread the word, because it's great to have people kind of watching it and feeding into the story as well. And yeah, hopefully people will be able to contribute to some of the things that are happening, especially naming stuff, because I probably need more name generators around me to just help with that kind of stuff. So just a couple of reminder things. So I'm going to shift my banners around. So banners, turn off my banners, turn that off, turn back on. You can follow us on all of these places using We Are Hub Games. This is kind of Prisma Arena Fortnite, and we are doing a lot on social media to kind of promote the launch of the game on the 13th of November. We have a Gleam competition running, so if you come to like We Are Hub Games, you can enter to win one of 5 copies of the game that we're going to be offering as well. Again, if you enjoyed Untold, spread the word for that as well. And I'll be back here tomorrow. If you want to follow me, in case you weren't aware already, I'm online as at Rory O'Connor on kind of Facebook. You'll find me. I think I'm Rory O'Connor 74 on Facebook. On Twitter, I'm Rory O'Connor. On Instagram, I'm Rory D O'Connor as well. By the end of this month, I'll have totally gotten to grips with. By the end of NaNoWriMo, I'll have totally gotten to grips with all of this stuff. So I'm just going to leave it there, and say thank you for watching, and we'll see you next tomorrow morning, same time. Take care. Bye.